Hey everybody, it's Alan Fine, and I'm here with Jay Schneider, who is the CXO, which I love, is the Chief Product Innovation Officer for Royal Caribbean. Now, Royal Caribbean keeps topping itself, and so we're going to talk about how they've done that, and he's a guy who's involved in that in a very intimate way. We're going to talk about all that here on Insider Travel Report. So let's begin with the Royal Railway.
Yeah, so first, welcome aboard Utopia of the Seas. This is the biggest weekend ever. And if you think of the biggest weekend, it wouldn't be something without kind of really a great evolution of food and beverage, or our dine and drink evolution. And one of those things is the introduction of the Royal Railway. And so the Royal Railway is really a new eatertainment concept, if you want to think of it that way. You know, we've been on a journey with eatertainment for a while. You know, if you think about it, dinner and a show is the classic cruise model, and we have a lot of guests who love it, and that's a tradition that we'll continue to offer. We also have guests who want kind of an evolution of that dinner and show, where the show and dinner are fused. We've been on the journey for a while. You could say hibachi is the original kind of eatertainment, right? It evolved to Wonderland. It evolved to the Mason Jar. On Icon, we introduced Empire Supper Club for the first time. And so here we went a bit further and introduced really this immersive dinner experience, for lack of a better way to say it.
You brought all the sciences together.
We did. We brought together visual immersion, great culinary, and then great entertainment, all fused into one 90-minute story that takes you on our first train trip, which is the Wild West train trip, which is a journey through the Old West, where you'll have great food, great visual immersion, and then, yes, a bandit or two may come through and disrupt your experience.
From the moment you walk in, first you realize you're catching a train. You can't come late, or the train leaves. And we show that. And then we're going to show them walking in and sort of narrate as I show all of our B-roll.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right, you arrive at Utopia Station, which is the core first station on the Royal Railway. We've made sure that that really is where you transition from cruise ship to train experience. And so you've got that gorgeous facade with the classic ticker board where you'll find your name, your boarding time, your car. And as you transition in, we want you to suspend disbelief that you're coming on board a train. And so you'll join the platform, have a welcome drink, you'll interact with characters.
You hear it. It already sounds like
it does. It sounds like a train. There's ambient train, smoke, steam coming out of it. Yep. There'll be an all aboard. Yeah. And everybody will board right on time, and to the point you made, like if you're late, the train's left the station, the door's closed. Right. Unfortunately, you won't be experiencing it, which for some cruisers may be a problem. And then at
least they made the ship. But then once you're in there, it is an intimate. It's a train car.
It's a dining car, right? It's 24 seats. It's banquettes of 4s and 2s. It really is an intimate train car experience, but you're wrapped with 8 gorgeous views to be able to immerse in the visual experience that you have. It's fine dining. It's great food. And yes, we've infused kind of entertainment on top of this story. There'll be more stories coming. So we've started with our family-friendly kind of entertainment experience. The next one will be a kind of lean-back date night experience, more intimate adult experience, which is the Silk Routes. It's the return journey of Marco Polo from China back to Italy. And we think that'll be a really great kind of culinary immersion for kind of a more of adult date night versus a family-friendly Wild West that we're starting with.
So you basically have these dinners, but you also have smaller, or you're working on smaller, intimate things so that throughout the day we can be using this facility.
Yeah, I mean, we think of this as a storytelling platform. Right. So the first story, yes, of course, is the Wild West. The next story is another long-form 90-minute dinner experience, which will be Silk Routes. But then this gives us great opportunity for things like whiskey. So whiskey tasting in the Appalachian Mountains, or wine tasting in Napa. And we can visually take you to Napa. And the best part about trains is they go through tunnels, and I can infinitely take you anywhere around the world through a tunnel.
As I'm intrigued with the storytelling, I'm intrigued with the business model, because this is never ending. You can always come up with new stories. In fact, you should be watching this space and others to see what these guys come up with. I'm envisioning the science fiction bullet train at some point, but that's way in the future.
You can do anything with this, right? I mean, holiday experiences, haunted overlays, just
haunted Halloween trips.
Right, that's exactly right. There's so many different opportunities.
I'll keep coming back.
This is a storytelling engine for us. But again, people go on vacations to make memories. This is a great memory-making experience.
I enjoy drinking at the Pesky Parrot. I'm just waiting for Brian to show up. Tell us all about that.
Brian's on his way. So we've had the tradition of the Bionic Bar on board the Oasis class, which was great when it was introduced. Very fun, but over time it's kind of waned in its popularity, and we really want to reboot. And most of the concepts that we develop are developed with our guests, and so we do a lot of consumer concept testing. And guests really wanted a reboot of a really amazing tiki bar, and so that's where the Pesky Parrot came from. And the whole idea of the Pesky Parrot is there's a drunk parrot named Brian who will eventually greet you. Brian's not here yet. Brian comes tomorrow. He's flying from California. Yep. And so Brian will show up.
Arms will be tired.
And be tired as a parrot, but Brian will arrive tomorrow. He'll take his spot on his perch and he'll greet guests in a drunken, fun way as our parrot. Well, guests can then have just like the great cocktails you said.
And those cocktails are locally inspired. Even though it's a Polynesian room, it's very Caribbean.
Yeah, we tried to find if there are great tiki bars throughout Florida, throughout the Caribbean. So this is really meant to be a twist of Caribbean tiki, not Polynesian tiki, in a really kind of fun and vibrant way.
So talking about changing, the Izumi has expanded. Let's talk about that, please. Yeah,
so part of the opportunity to open up the Royal Railway was actually the movement of Izumi. So one of the things that we looked at was how do we expand hibachi? Hibachi's a fan favorite for ours. We wanted to expand sushi, and then we've evolved with a new concept inside of Izumi with an omakase table. And so you really have four great experiences within Izumi. You've got a takeout window, which we introduced for the first time on Icon of the Seas and has been very popular.
Central Park.
Yep, in Central Park. So you've got a takeout window, double the hibachi we normally have in the Oasis class, great sushi, and then the introduction of a multi-course omakase table, which is just amazing. It's a fun experience for our guests.
Anything else on the ship? Because then we can move off to land.
Yeah, no, there's even more. I mean, listen, we've kept the view bar. The open deck is gorgeous. We've moved Giovanni's to where Wonderland was in deck 12 and 11.
It has headspace and a view.
View and an outdoor alfresco terrace for seating over the boardwalk, which we've never done before. We have what I think is our best in fleet sprinkles, because we're actually serving sprinkles with our sprinkles. And so just so many new things for our guests to enjoy, and so many favorites and fan favorites.
And then you wanted to talk about Coco Cay.
Well, the best pairing of Utopia of the Seas is with a stop at Perfect Day at Coco Cay. It makes the whole program, makes the best weekend, really the best weekend with that pairing. And so we've added, as you all know, in January, Hideaway Beach, which is really a great adult space. So if you're 18 plus, it's designed for kind of the best of that adult experience, and everything from a big party bar to a little quieter, relaxed sand and beach experience next to On the Rocks, which is a great cocktail bar.
Thank you for telling us all that.
Thanks for having me.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.